Most people wait until something's wrong to see a doctor. You are not most people. I'm Kevin White. After more than 20 years as an emergency physician, I realized the best medicine is not waiting for the crash. It's helping people stay on the road. This is The Daily Apple, a podcast about living better, longer. Every episode gives you something you can use this week. A smarter habit, a clearer path, or maybe just a new way to think about your health. Because engaged patients are the best patients, and your best years do not have to be behind you. Let's get into it.
Hey, hello. Welcome back, everybody, to the Daily Apple. I'm actually very thrilled to be here today with Dr. Nayan Patel. He is a PharmD, adjunct professor at USC School of Pharmacy, CEO of Central Drugs Compounding, founder of Aura Wellness, and the author of the Glutathione Revolution. Am I right? Am I missing anything there, Nayan?
No, that's amazing. But Nayan is just fine. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anyway, I'm really excited to be here and talk to you because you're really the authority on glutathione. We have a lot of patients who take glutathione, and what I want to get into is why that matters, how it decreases as we age, how we can support it, why we need to support it, what it actually does, and just kind of get into there. But, anyway, but great to have you, man. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure for me to be here talking to a physician who's been in ER. And it's just, I mean, my hats off to you guys because the work you have done and you do on a daily basis is life-changing. Nobody appreciate a physician who works that hard because people that you see are the one they're in really, really bad shape, and you can get them better and get them out of the hospital. That's amazing. So thank you for.
Yeah, with any luck. A huge part of that is our PharmDs. I didn't tell you about that, but anytime I was in the ER, especially in a critical scenario or whatever, having a PharmD in there, which is a doctor of pharmacy for everybody listening who really know what they're talking about. They tend to be some of the smartest people in the room. And I remember a handful of ours, and without them, we would be crippled. So very, very good to have that brain in the room. So the work you do is excellent, so thank you.
No, I appreciate that. Right? I'm glad that patients are now realizing that to get a better health for themselves, they need to talk to more than one provider, a doctor, a pharmacist, a therapist, a nutritionist, some spiritual healer. We all need to work in a harmony together to basically achieve better outcomes. And this podcasting over the last 3-4 years has just taken off like crazy. Now, hats off to you. I know how much hard work this is to put a podcast together.
Yeah.
But, it is very important for people to listen to it. And so anybody listen to this podcast, please, please, please share with at least 9 or 10 other people, because we need to spread the word to make sure everybody gets in the room to take care of themselves.
Yeah. I'm going to get into glutathione, how it's really the master antioxidant and kind of how it works. But before we get into that, I just want to touch on you as a person and your origin story. I mean, what pulled you into compounding pharmacy? What is compounding pharmacy for those who aren't familiar? And then really personalized medicine back, 25, 26 years ago, if my math is right.
Yeah. I mean, if you talk about origin story, I can go even before I became a pharmacist, because that's more interesting. I was born and raised in Zambia, Africa, and came to the United States when I was 18 years old. And, went to undergrad college and I was top of my class to become an aerospace engineer. Wow. That was my major. And because my brain was wired to do physics and chemistry, physics and math. That was my major. But even in physics, it's more about critical thinking, because space is not it's not done, right? So it's a lot more critical thinking required. But then I realized that, what? All the space programs in the United States, I would not be privileged to work part of work of it because I was not a born citizen. So I said, okay, well, I want to do the right thing, but if I'm not allowed to work, there was no SpaceX back then. So I wish there was there, because then I would be staying in the same major. So then I pivoted. I said, what's the next best thing? I said, physical chemistry. So then I joined pharmacy as a program to do that. I didn't want to become a medicine doctor because my brain is not wired that way. I
Uh,
said, hey, I can do physical chemistry. And I never looked back. I became a pharmacist. And while I was going to pharmacy school, I was privileged enough to work in a compounding pharmacy as an intern. And I learned a whole new world about personalized medicine to the people that needs better outcomes. And here I was thinking that, you know what? Doctor find the problems. We have a list of drugs that are available by the pharmaceutical companies, and we match it and we give it to you and we're done. Right? And then quickly realize that no,
mhm.
doctor needs to find the problem, pharmacists to go and find out a solution for the problem. And it could be a drug that's already available, or it could be something else. And when that, it's like it's so easy today to say that part, but back 27 years ago, no, you cannot think that way. It's already available. Just pick one. No, I don't want to pick one. I want to do something different. And
Yeah.
that curiosity got to me a whole different level, right? I was working in a compound pharmacy and they were just doing some basic orders here and there. And I says, no, no, no. When I graduate, I'm going to be making the medications, but actually I'll be recommending the drug therapies to the physicians. I said, hey,
Mhm.
we should do this. And so that shifted in thinking. Actually, I was featured in Los Angeles Times back in 1997 as this new kid in East Los Angeles is trying to change pharmacy by offering something called pharmaceutical care model. All it is basically doctors do the diagnosing and pharmacy do the prescribing or the medication management. And so I was featured in the Los Angeles Times and said, oh, that's a unique approach. But what got to me was the patients that I was starting to serve, they're bypassing the physician. I said, hey, I know what's wrong with me. The doctors already told me, but do you have something for anti-aging? Do you have something for longevity? Of course, at that time, longevity word didn't exist, but people were talking about anti-aging. I said, I want to be youthful forever. And so my history started way back then based on curiosity. I used my background knowledge in physics and in math and transferred into chemistry and into organic chemistry. And then the rest, as I said, when people started asking me about longevity medicine, I started to figure out, okay, if this is one mission that I have in my life now, I'm going to figure out a way how to stop the aging. If there a way to reverse the aging, and can I make you a baby again? I mean, that was my dream, and I'm not sure if it's sure yet. I can't grow my hair on my head at this point, but that's okay.
You and me both. Yeah. Yeah. So where did that take you then? I mean,
Well, the
that.
first thing it took me was I said, I need to have a technology to deliver simple molecules, right? And so 1999 comes around and we designed the liposomal technology in the nutraceutical world. Until the
Mhm.
time, liposome technology was only available on the pharmaceutical side, but not too many companies were diving into the vitamin world. And of course, people were looking for something unique to deliver some of the common molecules like vitamin C and magnesiums and calciums and things like that. And so, hey, how about liposome technology bypass the biggest gut barrier, which is stomach, which try to destroys everything. And if I can somehow pass through that one gatekeeper, there's a potential that we can improve those levels and have a fighting chance for the body to heal faster, better. And so that we designed the liposome technology, and I was commissioned to work on vitamin C.
Mhm.
And while vitamin C was good, it was not earth shattering. And the thing is, my brain does not recognize good. It sees good, says, well, that's good, but that's not good enough for me. I need something stronger, better than what this is. And so I went to the doctor, a cardiologist that I was working with, and I asked him, I said, hey, what about glutathione? I hear glutathione is much more powerful than vitamin C is, but why aren't you asking me to work on glutathione? And he goes, it's too difficult. It smells awful. It's not very stable molecule. So forget about that one. And plus, it's too pricey anyway. So just don't deal with that one. Just work on glutathione. Just work on vitamin C. Let's work on ethoxanthin. Let's work on PQQ. Some of those unique molecules that he was talking about. And he goes, okay. While I was working on his project, I started researching on
Right.
if there's one molecule that we can master, I think we can make this thing happen.
Yeah.
Until that time, And even today's, this is 2025. And even in 1999, there was only one drug approved to improve glutathione levels in your body, and which was Mucomyst, which is actually N-acetylcysteine. It's an amino acid, and you guys
And
use it in the hospital.
yeah, and when I think of that from an ER standpoint, I haven't been in the ER for a few years, but if somebody comes in with a Tylenol overdose, which will kill you, it's a very slow death. It's no way to go. But whether it's accidental or not, we give IV. Well, it used to be Mucomyst orally, which was like rotten eggs kind of thing. It's smelled terrible, but then we started giving it IV, which is a precursor to glutathione, right?
That's
And
right.
that's how, if you treat it right, you solve the problem and it would detoxify everything. But anyway, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
But the thing is, that's already approved by FDA,
Yeah.
and it has never been commercialized on the outside world.
Yeah.
And so people, I started thinking, I said, hey, what if I just give it N-acetylcysteine? It's already approved by FDA. We already know it works. And
Mm-hmm.
then we found out, well, there's limitations. The limitations is that, hey, it works on younger people,
Mm-hmm.
and and the response on the older people is diminished over time. So there's something that's not right that I figured out that there's something has to be done differently. And so, by the way, I started making, okay, you know what? I'll just infuse glutathione straight up. So I made the first IV glutathione back in 2000. This was like a long time ago. So you know what? I can just inject people into the bloodstream. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the results were short-lived. It wasn't very long-lived. There's not too many compounding pharmacies in the United States making this product yet. And so I started making the product. And of course, we got a couple of doctors in Las Vegas says, hey, I know it's short-lived, but give it to me. I'll start treating people after the heavy drinking at nighttime. I said, well, go knock yourself out. But it's not something that I'm interested in at this point because, it's helps me make money, but it's not going to help solve the problem that I'm looking for.
Hey, before we go further, Nayan, you probably ought to just define glutathione for anybody listening who may have not heard about it. How would you define that to some, in your own words, what
If
it
you ask a
is?
chemist, it's going to give a
Yeah.
chemical answer. And the chemical answer, glutathione is a tripeptide. It's three
Mm-hmm.
amino acids coming together in a smallest form of peptide. And peptides today is everybody should know what peptides are today because it's everywhere. The number one drug sold in the world today is a GLP-1 peptide for weight
Mm-hmm.
loss. And so peptide is something that everybody should know or does know about it. But it's just one of the simplest form of peptide the body produces. And glutathione is a working peptide, and I'll give a differentiation. What that means is that some peptides are bioregulators. That means the signaling molecules, they tell the body what to do. Versus glutathione is a working peptide, which means it is actually doing the work and not telling the body what to do. There's two different things, right? It's like having a mother-in-law in the house versus a maid in the house. Which one would you prefer?
So yeah, I guess the way I've thought about peptides is they go to the DNA, tell it to make certain proteins, and turn certain things on. Glutathione doesn't do that; it bypasses that and actually does is the maid kind of thing. So go ahead
It
with
is the
that. That's
maid.
good.
It's only two functions. If you think about it, it's glutathione in the entirety of this whole thing. We only know two things that it does massively, which is quenches all the free radicals. That means it takes the electrical charge out of the free radicals, which are reactive oxygen species, reactive nitrogen species. These are the one that actually makes you age as fast as they can, right? It's like oxidation that's happening in your body all the time. Think of a nail that's completely rusted. That's what's happening inside every single day. And if it wasn't for glutathione, you'll rust within a day, right? And so
Yeah.
that's what it does. That's one function, quenching all the free radicals. But the second function, it also helps in the conjugation pathways of phase 2 detoxification of your liver. What it does, it basically eliminates metabolites, chemicals, heavy metals, organic chemicals. You get exposed to all these different fertilizers and pollutions and all those things. All those chemicals have to be neutralized and made them water soluble so that you can get rid of it. Glutathione aids in the process of conjugation. That's how it makes them water soluble so the body can eliminate them very efficiently without putting extra burden on your organs. And so two things it does very efficiently, and that's all we know as of today because, again, until today, we never had a molecule that actually absorbed as a glutathione straight into the body. And I was
Hmm.
going to share this with about the IVs as well. While I was
Yeah.
making the IVs, the reason it was short lived is because there was a study done in 1991 that when they were infusing 2 grams of IV push into humans, what they found out was there was a 300-fold increase of glutathione in the urine within 5 to 15 minutes. So everything that your body that you just infused only stayed in the plasma, never entered the blood cells, and the plasma got filtered by the kidneys, and in 15 minutes everything was in the urine. And so the results were still there a little bit, but not
Yeah.
profound. And the reason the results were there is because an hour and a half later, the same researcher, what they found out was there was an increase of cysteine in the blood after 90 minutes. Wait a second. What the
Mm.
body did was it removed the glutathione out of the plasma completely and dumped it in the urine. But in that
Mm.
process, it also broke it down and reabsorbed the cysteine out of it. And that's what mucomist is, right? Cysteine. And the cysteine was later used by the human body to produce your own endogenous glutathione.
Mhm.
And so all these things make sense as okay, fine, it was short lived. You still get the results, but you're depending on your body to produce your own glutathione. And most people will say, well, I don't care. As long as the body gets what it wants, why do I care if your body makes it on its own or your body uses up some process to make it on its own or whatever, right? I said you care or you should care if you have a gene mutation where you cannot conjugate and can make your own glutathione. If you cannot do that part, until now, you had zero options. Zero
Yeah.
option. Today, we have an option available now. And that's what it was a curiosity in my mind that made this happen today. If it wasn't somebody curious like me that was going to get this thing happen, it would not be available today to us.
So let me repeat let me just kind of sum that up. So you're saying that glutathione, short-lived, pull it out of the urine, but it would keep the cysteine. And from that would be a precursor to glutathione if you had the enzymes or whatever to make that. And there was a subset of people who didn't have that and couldn't make the glutathione from the cysteine. Am I hearing that right?
That's right.
Now you're going to solve that problem to make it more efficient to getting glutathione.
It is, and it's the gene testing, right? 20 years ago, there was not anybody doing gene testings, SNP testings. It was like $5,000 a test. It was just super expensive. Even 15 years ago, it was too pricey. Today, for $500, you get the testing done. It is everybody has done already now. If they have not done it yet, I'm sure they'll get in the next 2 or 3 years. And what we found out was there's a small subset of people, they have either MTHFR gene mutations, COMT, GSTM, GSTP, GGT, and sometimes it is partially functioning, sometimes it's not working at all. If it's partially functioning, you can take some products for methyl products to make sure the body works better. But what happens is that if nothing is working, then you're at a mercy of a pharmaceutical or a nutraceutical product that is actually getting to absorb into your system and do that work for you.
So you've said that, without glutathione, the cell kind of rusts, you said, which is a good analogy, I think. And you have that aging, and aging is the common thing you have is this chronic inflammation, which rises and rises and rises. And this is one of the things that solves that. Whenever are there biomarkers? You mentioned it as far as getting glutathione into the tissues. What are ways that you can measure to, if you treat somebody with glutathione, and we'll talk about a little bit more about your efficiency of, we'll talk about the topical liposomal and everything, but what are ways that you can actually measure to say, okay, glutathione is having an effect that we want as far as basic lab tests and things? What are some, I hope that makes sense. Am I being
Absolutely.
clear?
So measuring glutathione sometimes is not necessary because it's one of those things. If the levels are high enough, that means your whole body is healthy, right? But if you are aging, even if the levels are high, your levels are actually, we don't know when you measure the blood, right? Let's say the body just produces glutathione and you measure the blood and your levels are normal. You think you're normal, right? but the body just produces some, and within 20, 30 minutes, you'll be zero. So the time of the testing matters to us. And so most people that have done so many different types of testings, and it's like it's all over the place. So it's really hard to identify normal levels of glutathione. At the same time, if you have any diseases, your levels are going to be low anyways because your needs are very high. So when you give glutathione topically, you can absorb, the body gets absorbed and it gets used up really fast. So initially the levels will go up and down really, really fast. And as your need starts decreasing a little bit, the amount of glutathione that you're taking starts getting accumulated in your body. And when the accumulation happens over six months to a year, that's when you start measuring the levels. Okay, I feel better. All my symptoms are lower. All my biomarkers are good. And my glutathione levels are rising. That's when you know that you're actually reversing your aging process. And you ask about the biomarkers. So normally what I usually measure is all the mitochondrial support. I measure immune markers. I also measure inflammatory markers as well as the metabolics. So for the metabolic, we're looking for oxidized cholesterols, ApoB, LDL levels, triglyceride levels. And once that gets normal, your HbA1c starts dropping. So sugar level starts dropping. So that starts getting healthier. But that's one thing. So if you're looking for the oxidative stress markers, we usually measure the MDA, which is metallaldehyde levels. You can also measure CRPs and homocysteine for the inflammation markers as well. We measure the IL-2, IL-6, IL-12s, and things like that as well for inflammation markers as well. And the thing is, all those markers, right, if they improve after using glutathione, but your glutathione levels is still low, that means it just tells you that all the glutathione that you're taking is actually making improvements in your body. And I did not realize that until last year. Right? I was taking glutathione product for 5 years in a row. I didn't miss a day. And then last year, somebody said, "Hey, I can take a drop of blood and I can do about 1,000 tests on you with one drop of blood." I said, "Hey, let me do it on you. It's a 72-page report, and you'll get all the markers for you." I said, "One drop of blood." I said, "Okay, let's do it." Right. And my glutathione levels came out low. Well, low normal, but they were low. And I called the CEO of the company. I said, "No, this testing is wrong. I know my glutathione levels good because I feel on top of my world right now." Right. I know how I feel. I know this is not how I felt 15 years ago. I know what I feel today. This is awesome. And he goes, "Well, let's not shoot the computers and the machines because they just measure what's in your blood. So let's analyze things," right? So he looked at the results and he got his PhD on the call with me. And he said, look at that. And then he gave me an example. I said, "What if I give you $10,000 a month and you spend all $10,000 every single month? After 1 year or 5 years, how much money you have left over?" I said, "Nothing, because everything you spent." I said, "So if you measure how much money you have nothing. But I just gave you $120,000 a year for 5 years. That's $700,000 I gave you, and you have nothing? Really?" But then he goes, "Wait a second. Let's look at your house. What do you have?" "Oh, I have new furniture. I got new car. I got everything money can buy." Right? And that's when it dawned on me. I said, "Oh my goodness." So instead of measuring glutathione levels, you start measuring all the markers, improvement in all the markers. And if you see that your body's improving the markers, all of a sudden, well, money well spent. Right? And so that's what happened to me. I have a whole lab test, and when I saw all my markers, it goes, "Look at this. Look at your mitochondrial support. Look at your metabolic response rates. Look at every single thing has improved dramatically." I literally age over four. I've literally regressed my age by 4 years already.
Really?
So that to me was a big thing.
Yeah. So you've been supplementing with glutathione for how long? Like regularly?
Off and on for 15 years, but really since the pandemic, every single day. And I'll tell you why. Because, do you take your own drugs? I don't, right? I invent drugs and I don't take my own drugs sometimes. And then when you start seeing the results from people, say, "Oh my God, how come I'm not taking taking the own product," right? And so I was one of the last guys to start using it on a regular basis. I take on and off, but not religiously every single day until 5 years ago.
Hey, so back to the glutathione story. How do we affect, without supplementing, how do we affect our own natural synthesis and depletion?
Absolutely.
Like, what are some things we do to sabotage ourselves? What are some things we do to support ourselves just naturally
So
with the formation of glutathione?
there's two things we can do, right? Either we can make your own glutathione, but body has a mechanism built in to recycle all your glutathione. So as long as we can support the recycling process of glutathione, your body doesn't have to do hard work or keep on making a new product all the time. And so there's two ways to do that part. So I want to make sure you address all those things. First, number one thing that you can do is stop exposing yourself to chemicals, pollutants that are actually depleting the glutathione levels to zero every single day, right? Chemicals. The worst, two things that's worst is smoking. Either you cigarette smoking, marijuana smoking, cigar, whatever you smoke, or even fire in your house, even gas stoves and fireplaces in your houses too. Products of combustion are actually toxic to human body.
Really?
Yeah,
So
so
hanging
even
around the
those,
campfire as it's
well,
getting cooler in the
campfires.
fall.
Well, campfire is a little different because I was in the open air, but yeah, it has a potential of causing inhaling products of combustion. That's the first. That's the most toxic one. The second one is alcohol. Every drink, one drink of alcohol can deplete the glutathione levels for the next 4 hours. So,
Really?
I mean, yeah, the body will make it again, but who stops at one drink,
Yeah.
right? By the
Yeah.
third drink, I said, "Oh my God, I can drink like a fish, and nothing will happen to me.
Yeah.
I have a liver of a gladiator." That's what they'll tell themselves, right? I said, "Well, don't be too cocky. One day it's going to fall down." But that's what we see. That's what we hear all the time. But the alcohol is absolutely disruptor when it comes to glutathione levels. So stop the poisons getting inside your body and stop using all the glutathione for something that you can avoid it. Okay. Then the part comes in and says, okay, if I still need the gluten to do my daily functions, what can I do? So the foods will help make your own endogenous production of glutathione all day long. As long as you don't have the gene mutations, and you'll know that when you're a kid, because if you have a issue with detoxification or production of glutathione, early on, 2, 3, 4 years of age, you will probably diagnosed with some sort of on a spectrum disorder. You will have it, right? But if you don't have it, if you're a normal child until you left your mom's house, right, or your dad's house, you know what? That's self-inflicted. So now the issue is, okay, how do I make my own glutathione? So to make glutathione, your body needs 3 amino acids, which is glycine, glutamine, and cysteine. Cysteine are the stinky foods, the sulfur foods. So if you just eat cysteine rich foods, and I'm not here to give you a food advice because I don't nobody wants to listen to me about food. So put in your favorite search engine box or your AI robot, whatever, ask them cysteine rich foods. Give me my options. Vegans, vegetarians, carnivores, omnivores, and whatever diet plan you follow, you'll have
Yeah.
options. That needs to be your diet every single day. Consumption. Besides the 3 amino acids, your body needs to make 2 enzymes. As long as there's no exposure to cosmic rays and UV radiations, the body can produce enough enzymes as well. Requires 2 molecules of ATP, which is energy source for the mitochondria, and 1 molecule of NAD. NAD is an electron transfer molecule, and so it's a great way to basically expedite the process of making this glutathione for us. So as long as you have all this components intact inside your body can produce glutathione until the last breath on this planet for you,
Mm.
right? So avoid the exposures, do the diets, and your body can make enough of it.
Yeah. Cysteine rich. Okay. Great. Okay. So it sounds like we kind of sabotage ourselves a lot as usual, with alcohol and everything. And does sleep affect glutathione production at all, as far as you know?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
We are a sleep deprived society right now.
Sure.
If you're not sleeping, that means you have a lot of oxidative stress. Oxidative
Yeah.
stress depletes the glutathione levels to zero immediately. If you think about oxidative stress, and of course, I'm preaching to the choir over here, Dr. Kevin, because guess what? All disease have a link to oxidative stress. It's the
Hmm.
number one killer today. If I can reduce oxidative stress down to zero by itself, is the best longevity drug period on this planet, right? If you think about it, 100 years ago, the number one killer was infections. And so when we invented penicillin, my God, we one drug, single-handedly one drug, increased the lifespan by 20 years. No other drug has ever done this for us before, right?
Hmm.
Then we started doing scrubbing and sanitizing effects, and we brought all these systems in place, try to reduce the microbial exposure to the human body. And
Hmm.
that all these processes went increase our longevity. We went from 40, 50 years to almost 60, 65, 70 years, right?
Hmm.
And now we are at this age that we won't take penicillin for every single day for as a longevity drug, would you? No, I don't think so, because that's not the problem anymore. The problem today is oxidative stress. Oxidative
Yeah.
stress is the number one killer in the world. And if I can reduce oxidative stress down to zero with the help of glutathione, I can assume that 50 years from today, it'll be like a norm. I said, well, oxidative stress is not an issue anymore because we have ways to improve the glutathione levels. So now, 50 years from today, there'll be some other cause of disease that's killing the people, and then we have to find another cure. But by that time, we're already living to 120, 150 years of age instead of
Yeah.
80.
What's killing all these 130-year-olds? Yeah. Yeah. It's a whole different
Yeah.
conversation. Um, yeah, that's exciting. So, I mean, we talked about glutathione, how it's, I mean, if you're going to live long and really affect almost every disease process, you need to have adequate glutathione, whether it's natural, try not to sabotage yourself. But you've talked about this liposomal, um, of it, or, delivery method, and explain kind of what that is.
So it is not liposomal. That was my first technology. It did not work on me. Did not
Okay.
work on me. And so we had a brand new technology that we delivered. We are actually using the cells on your skin to absorb it through the skin. And
Hmm.
that technology is we use sugar molecules. So basically the sugar molecules gets through your skin pretty fast. And so
Hmm.
we basically put the sugar took the sugar molecules and stuffed inside with glutathione. So we have a dual technology process where we twist the glutathione molecule as a peptide. So we twist it out into small enough particles, get it inside the sugar molecules. So outside seems like it's sugar, but inside is glutathione. And we kind of it's like a Trojan horse kind of a deal where we are able to deliver glutathione using this delivery system and get it inside your cells pretty fast. And so that's what we did. And that was discovered back in 2007. And when we first discovered this, I said, oh my God, right? I was on top of the world. I said, wow, this is going to be amazing. But when I quickly found out was there was no research done in the whole world. And so, of course, we applied for the worldwide patents right away. We went to every country and applied for patent applications to see if we keep on doing more further studies and spend some more money on it. If there's no patent approval, then it's hard to spend the money, right? And so we started applying for the patents and we started also working on the same time. What we found out was if I just give the amount of glutathione to the body, like I used to give our IV patients, it was too toxic, too much. I couldn't handle it. And so that's when we stopped down. Everything was shut down. I said, okay, now this is not good. So I need to figure all those things out. So the first thing we did was we do a pharmacokinetic studies to try to figure out how much to give you, right? And how often to give you. Is it once a day, twice a day, every other day, every 7 days, every 30 days? I know there's all these different regimens. I got to figure those things out. And so we figured those. It took me about 2 or 3 years to get that study done. And after that, once I got that study done, I said, okay, figure it out. Let's give it to the patients. And I was working with doctors all over the United States. It was a prescription item because we didn't want to. I want to control the results and the application process at that time. And so we were monitoring those through physician's eye, every single thing. So it took us good 14 years to decide to figure out how much to give you, how often to give you, how soon can I get results, how long can the people take it for to keep on continuing getting results. What is it actually doing for you? And at the same time, I want to find out how is it enhancing their own body to perform better. And in my 14 years, I can share you in like 2 minutes all my findings, right? One, it gets absorbed within seconds through your skin. So that was a good thing. You just apply topically, rub it in, and within 30 seconds to 2 minutes, it's already gone. You cannot smell anymore. Its stickiness is gone. It's completely smooth. It's already gone inside your body. Everything is gone.
How do you
When we
measure
do that,
that? Whenever, and it come back to that. So you absorb it. How are you able to measure, like through saliva or
no, it was RBC test, a blood test.
Okay,
And
go ahead.
so we measure the RBC levels, not the plasma, because plasma gets filtered out very fast. So what we
Right.
were measuring was the RBC level. So we applied that glutathione, and the doctor actually measured every 15 minutes,
Yeah.
right? What was the rise of glutathione every 15 minutes? And they saw the peak RBC levels was at 45 minutes to an hour in most of the patients. And the trough was at somewhere around 4 to 6 hours for most people. So, hey, if I do twice a day dosings, that gives you a good amount of coverage. But then I realized that, glutathione in the body gets recycled. Wait a
Mhm.
second. I got to put that into a twist now, right? It's not just a pharmacokinetic study. Now I have to put a measurement in there. Okay, how much gets recycled? 10%, 20%, 100%, 50%? I have no idea. And so everybody's different. And so I said, okay, on an average, an ideal patient, what the recycle could be? And it's 50%. The 50% gets recycled, 50% gets destroyed. I said, okay, let's look at 50% ideal patient only. And if that works out, what is the pharmacokinetic study is going to look like when I'm going to reach steady state? And so that took me about 2 months to reach steady state. And said, okay, within 2 months, I should see all the results. And sure enough, what I found out was in 2 months, the doctor starts seeing all the markers and the metabolic markers starts improving. Not perfect yet. It starts improving, right?
Mhm.
And then it dawned on me. So wait a second. Glutathione is not doing all this work. Who's doing all the work? And then you realize that this is my most profound thought that I found in my life. And this is something I want everybody to get this part, right? The glutathione is only doing two things: antioxidant, quenching all the free radicals, and conjugation, detoxification pathways. But those are the number one, number two job that the body has every single day. Imagine you, okay, Dr. Kevin. Let's see you go to your house and the house is full of trash everywhere. The stove you didn't clean up, your kids were just going wild and crazy. There's food everywhere. The dishes haven't been done yet. You go to the bedroom, there's everything is in shambles,
Yeah.
right? The kids come and say, Daddy, 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 I want food. I want to eat something. I said, well, wait a second. I cannot cook on the stove that is completely destroyed. Let me clean up. Let me take the trash out first. Let me get at least decent, and I'll cook food for you. You're still not happy because you're only going to clean the stove and get the food ready on the table, but you go to the dining table and say, oh my God, that's filthy as well. It's sticky on the things, and I wipe everything down and then sit down and eat. The whole house still in shambles at this point, right? And then you realize that, what's missing is that my maid was supposed to be here and she's not here yet, or he's not here yet.
Yeah.
I wish that person comes right now and cleans this out for us. And then you made sure that you pay the maid person. It comes every single day. And by the time you come home, it's spotless. And guess what? Now you can not just cook, but now you have time to sit down and do the homework with the kids,
Mm.
converse with them, connect with them. How is your family life going to be after that? Amazing. Absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. But the maid made it possible, right? Glutathione is that maid.
Mhm.
Without glutathione, the body cannot heal itself because it's too busy trying to quench the free radicals. Because to quench free radicals, it can produce glutathione, but it can also produce enzymes like catalase, glutathione peroxidase, superoxide dismutase, things like that. It produces those kinds of things. For conjugations, it activates methylation pathways. It does other things besides glutathione as well. And so if that is not available to you, the body has to work double overtime, try to clean the body up and get rid of the stuff. And then in the meantime, you got to cut.
Mm.
Well, I would love to heal the cut for you, but guess what? I'm too busy
Yeah.
taking the trash out.
Yeah.
And so what I realized is that glutathione by itself is not the real answer for all the things, but what it's doing is it's unleashing the actual power of human potential to repair and restore our body. And I'm about to make a profound statement. which says that no healer, no pharmaceutical that exists today is going to do a better job than your own human body to fix it from inside out.
Right.
And glutathione makes it possible to allow to do that part. And to me, when I realized that part, I said, wait a second, I can take a back seat now because nobody cares about the maid. Maid is not the highest paid. The maid is not the thing. But it allows you to become the best version of yourself.
Right. Right. Yeah. And nobody really realizes it when the maid doesn't show up, I guess. Yeah. I was
Yes.
wondering if you've been to my house after I was out of town with my 20-year-old is what it sounds like when we leave at home. Maybe we'll edit that out. But I like that analogy. That really makes sense for everybody, the efficiency of this molecule here. So right now, I mean, tell me what that looks like. You have this delivery system. What's your recommendations? Tell me we were mentioning before we got on, started recording some stories you had with actual clients and some pretty profound outcomes that were pretty interesting. Can you kind of comment on any of that?
The outcomes I have received from people, and again, it's not that the glutathione is doing any of this work, but what it does is it's allowing the body to heal itself, right? Like I had one ophthalmologist, who was a new ophthalmologist, and he calls me, "Man, do you have any idea that my floaters in my left eyes are gone in 30 days? I said, wait a second, doctor. Glutathione is not doing that for you. I said, but you don't realize that part, that what it did was the glutathione actually detoxified my body and freed up my body to take the eye floaters out, right? And so it's not for eye floaters by all means. I'm just telling that story because that's on my website as well. There's a testimony from one of the physicians, but it's not for that. But that, to me, it just tells you that glutathione is not doing the work, but it is allowing the body to do the work. I had a 4-year-old kid, autistic kid, that within 7 days was singing again for the first time, and the joy on mom's face and to see the tears come down the cheek, just absolutely incredible to see that part. So that's something that happened. I have so many athletes. I had one athlete playing professional sport and got injured right before the playoffs. And he was the captain of the team. Right before the playoffs, he got injured. And of course, his wife was a patient of mine. And the wife uses, hey, I heard Dr. Patel on one of the podcasts is good for pain. So she started spraying the glutathione on the injury, and the pain went away instantaneously. Oh my God. I could not have helped him better than that. The very next morning, I started getting calls from the team doctor and the team itself. I said, hey, what's in this product? I want to make sure it's all legal stuff and there's nothing in there that's a performance enhancement. I don't want my captain to be nailed for drugs and things. All the stories that comes out. And I send them the product and you can listen. I said, that's it? That's all it is inside? Oh my God, it's amazing. I want for the whole locker room, right? So over 30 bottles for the whole locker room has this team. The team has this for everybody because we all get beat up all the time. It's not for anything else, but what it's doing is that when you get beat up, it's getting increased oxidative stress. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of free radicals. If you quench the free radicals, it allows the body to heal faster, but the inflammation is there to heal. Right? We don't want to reduce the inflammation down. What we want to reduce is the oxidative stress. If we can reduce oxidative stress out, and the healings happen faster. And that's what we're seeing, that part. And one thing that I'm so blessed, and again, there's so many stories. And if you go to my website, read all the testimonials from people, and more than half the testimonials, we don't even publish them part because they try to make some claims that I always say, wait a second now, that's not glutathione that's doing the work. I can appreciate what you are feeling and what you're going through right now, but that's not glutathione did all the work by itself. You had a hand in it by changing your habits as well. So I don't publish those things, but it's one of the most sacred thing in my life has really helped me be the healer that I want to be for everybody, for the whole world. And the product is just so that it can get you started, but it really is what you get out of it, right? It's not just a product. Product is just a conduit for you to tell you that, hey, use this product to get started, but then start fixing your life from A to Z. Stop drinking anything besides water. Stop eating anything besides real food. Stop exposing yourself besides the real environment and the stress-free environment. And if you do all those things, 120 is just a number. We're going to surpass that age by a milestone.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I've been kind of keeping track of this molecule for a while, but you hit on some good things. It just takes the edge off. It cleans the house so the body can do what it's supposed to do. I mean, glutathione. I mean, it's just a real excellent supportive molecule. So what does your life look like? Do you use this every day, twice a day?
I use it twice a day most of the time. I usually use too much of it because I'm on a circuit for the last 3 years. I have been traveling almost 30 weeks out of the year.
Yeah.
I'm on the road, educating, talking. I get invited all the time to speak at different events. Thanks to Zoom, a lot of things I'm doing by Zoom right now. In fact, I'm doing team interviews via Zooms today all day long. And so that has reduced a little bit, but still I have a lot of travel time. So when I'm traveling, I fly this aluminum chute we call the plane. There's zero protection, by the way. So I have to increase my glutathione levels at that time. But when I'm home, just 4 sprays twice a day, which is a bare minimum amount. That's all I need, and I feel just fine. I use it twice a day, every day. But I was taking 30 supplements per day. I'm down to just one now. And from 40, I'm 54. I'm turning 54 in the next couple of weeks. But 14 years ago, I was not healthy, taking 30 supplements per day. Today, just one supplement, I'm healthier than my own 40-year-old person. And it's amazing. I just climbed a glacier mountain with my son last year. It's just only 4 people made it on the top of the mountain. I was one of the 4, which I was very proud of it because I don't hike by the way. I don't do much exercise. I don't hike. But when he called me up and said, "Dad, you want to come to this hiking trip?" I said, "Oh shoot, I don't hike." But you know what? He asked me for the first time, I'm going to make it. And then I told him, "You know what, son? I'll see you at the top. Don't worry. I'll make it. Just go there. I will make it." And I was there to give a hug over there. So, life's very blissful. Life's fun. Life's there to enjoy, but not if you start enjoying by destroying life. It's like what they say, right? You traded time for money early on, right? You work 10, 12 hours, 15 hours a day to get money. And so that you can spend the money in your 60s, 70s, but you never get the time back. Right? So please don't stop trading time for money, is what we tell people. But in health, stop trading the human body for guilty pleasures. And that's what my overarching message for everybody is. Find pleasure in something else. Find pleasure in watching a sunset. Find pleasure in connecting with people over a glass of water. Right? But just with meaningful conversations. If you can start having pleasure like these ones, you never have to get together for alcohol to have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's great. Gosh, I could go on and on about this. I really appreciate your time. This is, it's exciting stuff. So right now, tell us about what you're doing right now. I mean, you're doing, the Aura Wellness. What's life look like for you? In the future? Where do people find you?
Absolutely. So aurawellness.com is my website. I spend a lot of time and energy on educating people, and I have a newsletter that I give out every week just to get people excited about different ways they can improve their life. I want to do my own podcast one day, which I wouldn't be surprised if I start doing my own podcast, because I want to make sure that people start getting into basic information. This is not going to be an earth-shattering podcast. It's just so that I want people to get that encouragement every single day that, hey, that's okay. Just do simple things, all right? Besides that, I'm still a father to my 3 kids. I still like to walk my dog and play with my dog on a daily basis. I love my wife dearly, and we spend very meaningful time together. It's like yesterday, my daughter comes and says, "Dad, you want to go to jacuzzi?" I said, I had no time to do that part. But that 10 minutes, just jump in the jacuzzi, turn the jets on, so we can connect with the family, get out of there, do a quick shower, and still get my work done. That's what I don't want to miss any of those moments again in my life. And so I'm very conscious about every single thing. And I want everybody be in that state to make a conscious decisions every single day, because we are on an autopilot every single day. Somebody else is pulling our strings and making us move. And I want to cut all the strings away and say, hey, I want to move on my own pace now. And so that's my thing. That's my life. My life is an open book. I meditate every single day.
Mm-hmm.
I give my 3 gratitudes every single day, daily gratitudes. I appreciate my life. I think about all my happy moments every single day for about 2 minutes and just fill my heart with joy every morning when I get up, so that the rest of the day I can give and give and give.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. Back to our wellness. That's AURO wellness, correct?
Yes. Yes,
okay.
Sir.
Cool. And the Glutathione Revolution is your book. Are you working on any other books?
Not yet, but I have a couple of books in my mind right now. I want to write a book for myself when I'm 100 years old. I said, I want to read that book when I'm 100 years old. That, hey, you just made it to 100. What now? Right? How did you get here? How did you get here? I don't want him to forget what took you to get to when I'm 100. And so I want to catapult myself at 100 and say, hey, if I read my own book at 100, they'll put me to 120, 150. Right. And it's not 120, 150 in a nursing home. Gosh, no. I would be at 120 in a golf course or hiking with my family and things like that.
And not spending time in a doctor's office waiting room. So, as far as the glutathione we talked about, where do people find that? Is that something that people need to get a prescription for? How does that work?
No, it's not. It's an OTC product.
Mm.
All my people that sell the products are all physicians' offices only. So we only sell through healthcare provider network.
Yeah.
If not, they can buy through my website, directly from my website. If you do buy from my website, just mention where you heard from a doctor's office or this podcast. So we appreciate to understand where things are coming from, so we can keep on doing more of these ones, so we can pass the message across to everybody else. So it's the doctor's office or my website.
Okay. Well, gosh, what else do we need to talk about? Any other points you want to make, Nayan, before we let you go?
I can share a brief 1-minute story about my father.
Sure.
Because that thing will hit home as a closer for a lot of people. Because if you think that, hey, I'm 80 years old and there's nothing I can do about it because I wasted my life, I've done all these bad habits and there's nothing I can do today. If that's you today, then listen to me, right? My father at the age of 78 had a mild myocardial infarction. Like, it was chest pains only, didn't have a full-on heart attack, but we went for angiograph and there was 100% blockage of the main aorta, which was nasty. And the doctor says, oh my God, I can't believe he survived. He was type 2 diabetic for 35, 40 years, arthritis for 35 plus years, blood pressure issues, thyroid issues. He was basically surviving, walking here and there, but surviving. A little bit on the heavier side, not obese, but just enjoying life in the wrong way. At that time, he was my patient number 1 on glutathione.
Mm-hmm.
It was N of 1. That was my patient number 1. I said, Dad, take this glutathione every single day. It's been 3 years since we discovered it, but you be the patient number 1 that's going to take it forever now, right? And so by the time I already figured out how much to give and how often to give, so we get 4 sprays twice a day, go and take it every single day. And like a good son I am, I forgot that I gave it to him, right? A year and a half goes by. I was watching him eating dinner and he was pounding on carbs. I said, Dad, you're diabetic, so just go easy on the carbs. And he goes, no. My sugar levels are normal. My A1C is under 5.4. I said, what? Since when? I said, it's been about 6 months now. I did 2 testings and both the time it comes out normal. And what about the medication? I only take 1 medication now for my diabetes, or just 1 metformin is all I take. I said, wait a second. I didn't believe him. So I took his blood test. I said, yeah, Dad, that's good. That's all good. But make sure you still keep on doing your 30-minute walk per day and all those things. He goes, 30 minutes? And now the smile was cheek to cheek, right? It was just crazy. Pulls his iPhone out and shows it to me, his health app. I said, I'm walking 6 miles a day. Wait a second. Arthritis, right? I said, yeah, I have no pain. And then a couple more years goes by. Now he's 84 years of age, right? A couple more years goes by. And by this time, From 78 to 84, 6 years, he's already visited 6 different countries in 6 years. Every year, it just takes off. My mom passed away 25 plus years ago, so he was single. And so for him to just pick up a bag and just leave, when he's gone for 3, 4 months in a row. And he takes up everything on his own, food, travel, everything. It doesn't matter. He just does it on his own. He comes back. I said, I went to a chiropractor and my hip is not aligned properly and my back is hurting now. But they said that's because my knees are deformed and I need to get knee replacement surgery done. I said, okay, you're 84 right now. I go to a doctor and guess what? He convinced the physician to do both knee replacements at the same time. Completely deformed. Wow. Arthritis for 40 plus years, completely deformed. The doctor could not believe it. He said, oh my God, I can't believe you're still walking 6 miles a day. I said, well, I'm not walking 6 miles right now, but I have a lot of pain. But if you can get rid of the knees, I can go back to normal.
Yeah.
Both the replacements done at the age of 84. Well, he's 85 now by the time the surgery was done. And guess what? He was given 6 months for recovery. In 3.5 months, he was in India traveling again. 3.5 months. Was India traveling again, already walking 3 miles per day. He had a place right by the ocean, and he was walking over there. And he went to India every single year. I'm from Africa, and so he went to Africa not every year, but every 3 or 4 years he would go back to Africa, just go say hello to all the friends and family that he has over there.
Right.
And this is just that part, right? And then it comes out to 89. By this time, he's already visited 13 countries. He's went to Costa Rica for all adventure trip. He went to Hawaii, the big island for adventure trip. He went to Yosemite National Park for hiking. I mean, think about this guy. At the age of 78, he was surviving, and now he is absolutely living his life, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely living his life. No medications whatsoever. No cholesterol pills, nothing. And then he was in India last year. And he's 89 right now. He's in India last year, traveling over there. And now he's eating street food and he's just enjoying life. I said, Dad, what the hell are you doing? Of course, he got loose bowel movement, and he did not stop for 3 days. I said, Dad, stop doing those kinds of things. Just make sure you go to a nice restaurant and eat. I said, or I know he's not going to cook, but I'll have a maid and come and cook for me too. But you know what? I'll just go eat restaurants. The diet did not stop. So he got a little bit dehydrated a little bit, right?
Right.
Next morning, bam, he falls down in the shower. Crack opens his skull, right? Rushes to the ER. He calls from the ER. I said, I'm fine. He's talking to us. I'm fine. Don't worry about it, And I talked to the doctor. I said, well, there's some internal bleeding going on. There's some MRI x-rays and things like that. But he's coherent. He's talking. He's no loss of memory. I called my the head of the neurosurgeon for NFL is a good friend of mine. Yeah. I called him. I said, Doctor, my dad just fall down, and he runs all the CT protocols for NFL, the post concussion protocol for NFL, everything. The whole NFL runs on him. If he says you can't play football, even God cannot put you on the field today, right? Yeah. That's how much power he has. But anyway, so he goes, where is he right now? So he's in India at this place. I said, give me 2 hours, and in 2 hours there was a doctor visiting my dad in India. Give me a report on him. I said, he knows every neurosurgeon in the world, everybody, right? So he arranged somebody to go see my dad. I said, hey, your dad's okay. There's an internal bleeding going on. He's completely coherent and memory is good. If he can survive next 3 or 4 days, he'll be coming home next week, right?
And he's 89. He's 89 at this point.
He's 89 now, right? He's 89 now. This was last year, right? And he goes, see? And he goes, pick up the phone. See, I told you, I'll be fine. I said, Dad, just be careful. I'm coming next week to pick you up. Not me personally, but I told my brother to go pick him up. Right? Yeah. I said, don't come out. I'll come out by myself. I said, no, my brother will come pick you up. He started calling out. He's calling sisters and brothers and everybody. By the time he realized, oh my God, it's already 11 o'clock. He takes a selfie for the first time and says, okay, hey, here's me looking right now. I'll see you. I'll talk to you later. Puts his phones down, goes to sleep, and never wakes up again.
Oh, wow.
And so the thing is, what I'm telling you the story is for one reason, right? From 78 to 89, he absolutely lived his life. He climbed the glacier mountain in New Zealand, right? He went to Australia for 2 months and he traveled the whole country, right? So if you're giving hope on yourself, the body's not.
Yeah.
Your mind is, right? The product was just a conduit to give him hope that, hey, if I can take some of the dirt out, the body will start repairing and restoring. And if you do your part and let the product do his part, guess what? You can start living your life again and enjoying the life. And as a practitioner, as a healer, I always feel like I say, hey, My job is just to give you the opportunities. Your body is going to do all that work for you so you can enjoy your
Yeah.
life. And so my overarching goal too is that if you're still alive and listening to this podcast, you're not dead. This is real, and you have a chance to make it better for yourself today. So please go do that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
That's amazing. What a story, man. Sounds like an amazing guy.
Yes, lived his life.
Well, Nayan, thank you so much for the time. I really, really appreciate it. This has been much better than I even imagined. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for, just being a part of our orbit here. So I really appreciate your time. And anybody listening, please check out his information. This is really good stuff. And I look forward to using this more in our patient population as well. So anyway, with that, I guess I'll let everyone go, and everyone enjoy your day, and thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. See ya.
Bye-bye.